it's Stephen with Jacksonville Real Estate News, your unbiased real estate news source here in Northeast Florida. I hope you are having a great and wonderful Friday here in Jacksonville. You know, we've got a little rain, a little clouds, a little sun, all at the same time. But that is what you get when you live in Northeast Florida here during the summer. So I've been getting a lot of questions about what programs are out there to help you as a homeowner, as a home buyer. What's out there to help you kind of with down payment, with some closing cost assistance, things like that. With that being said, there is a big program that just rolled out. It is here to help you as first-time homebuyers go and find a little bit of extra money. We're really kind of struggling, and I'm seeing a lot of my customers struggle with coming up with the down payment, with some of the closing costs, especially with the interest rates clicking up and up and up. So the government here in Florida has done something to help you, the consumer, buy a house. So let's get into it and go over some things. So you may have heard of the Hometown Heroes program before, but what has now happened is it has been opened up to anyone in the state of Florida who are first-time home buyers and their employer has a brick and mortar business here in the state of Florida. So before with Hometown Heroes, this really got started when we were looking at going through COVID and looking at nurses and first responders and teachers, all those type of things. Now the program, since kind of inflation has really jumped up, the DeSantis administration has bumped it up to help a lot of people with getting their first house. Affordability is kind of at its lowest point right now in the past couple of years, just because interest rates have kept checking up. So the government stepped in. They're saying, hey, we're going to help you with your down payment and closing cost. So the Florida Hometown Heroes program makes home ownership possible for eligible first-time home buyers who work for a Florida-based employer. Good stuff so far. Get up to $35,000 for down payment and closing cost assistance. So what this is going to look like, and everybody asks this, so we're going to get into it a little bit. What this looks like is this is going to be available with conventional FHA, VA, and USDA loans. So basically a lot of your big time loans that you see out there. First-time home buyers only. Veterans are exempt. So a veteran doesn't have to be a first-time home buyer. So very good things. So this is really where it gets interesting, because there's a lot of these programs that have kind of been coming and going over the years. But this one's really interesting. So a 30-year 0% non-amortized deferred second mortgage through Florida Housing. So let's talk about this for a second. What does this mean? If you've got a 30-year 0% second mortgage. So what they will do is any of the closing costs that you need, let's say that it's $10,000. You need $10,000 in closing cost assistance. So that $10,000 is going to go on the back of your mortgage. It's going to be a second lien on the property. Now, it's going to be 0% interest. So you're not paying any interest on it. It's literally the state of Florida saying, hey, here's 10 grand. You take this 10 grand. But we're going to want that 10 grand back. Okay, so when do you have to repay that 10 grand? Well, you have to pay it if you refinance. If you refinance, boop, you got to repay it. Or if you go to sell it, you've got to pay that off. So what that means is that it's going to go, whenever you go to sell your house or refinance it, let's say you buy the house for $300,000, and you go to sell it, you own $300,000 on the mortgage. That means you're going to have $300,000 on your first mortgage, and then you're going to have $10,000 on this second mortgage. Does that make sense? It just sits there. It's just they're giving you that money to help you get into the home. It sits there. When you go to sell, boom, you've got to pay that off back to them. Now, this is different for some of you folks before. Maybe your friends or your family or somebody else has done one of these programs before. There's been other programs where they'll charge you interest on it. They'll charge you, a very small interest on it. They will charge, hey, if you hold the house for 10 years, you don't have to pay it back after 10 years. That is not this program. You get that money, but it sits on as a second lien on your home once you purchase it. Once you go sell it, boom, you've got to pay that back. Now, you might ask, oh, well, do I have to remember this and that? Most of the time, the title company is going to take care of that when you go to sell. They're going to search that there's a lien on the property, and that lien is going to then get cleared up once you go to sell the property. So let's take another look. So other key points in this is that your employer must have a physical location in Florida. Pretty simple. You've got to have a brick and mortar. Now, I know a lot of you are working from home, are virtual, or things like that. That's a gray area. I've talked to the lenders who are doing this program, and it's a gray area. There isn't a good answer on that. So we just need to talk to the lender. If you need contacts for a lender, please reach out to me, comment down below. I'll get you over a lender who's working this program. They'll be happy to go into more detail about it and kind of some of the finer specifics. But I wanted to get this over to you, the consumer, so that you had this great information. Another thing is you got to have a minimum FICO score of 640. That's going to be pretty standard across the board. And then here, this works for a single family townhome, condo, manufactured, or multi-unit. So this covers the gambit of a lot of things. You can use basically almost any loan type. Once again, quote unquote, almost any loan type, everything up here. First time home buyers, yep. So you haven't bought a home. I think it's within 3 to 5 years since. Once again, we'll talk to a lender. We'll get that specific for you. 30-year, 0% non-amortized deferred second mortgage, meaning it just sits on the title. You have to pay it back once you go to sell or refinance. Your employer must have a physical location here in Florida, your minimum FICO score, and then all these different types of homes, anything that most people are looking for these days. Now, the big thing with all of this is here to benefit you, the consumer. Right now, money is tight. Everybody knows that. I run into it every day, even in my finances. Money is tight. Inflation keeps going up and up and up. So this is a really good way, if you've been kind of going back and forth on whether you should buy a house, keep saving, what does that look like? This is another tool in your tool belt to go out there and have that discussion with your agent, with your family, with whoever it is. Have that discussion. You need to know this information because I don't want you to be locked into something that isn't good for you or your family. So once again, that's why I'm here, to bring you this unbiased information and say, hey, you might have an opportunity to go and get yourself a house. If you want to do that, does it fit into your budget, and does it fit into your lifestyle? And if it does that, well, then let's talk. Talk with your agent, talk with your mortgage broker, talk with your finance person, talk with your husband or wife, because I just want to make sure that you have a house and the lifestyle that you want to live. So I hope you found this video informational. Please, if you did, give me a like, subscribe, smash that notification button so that I usually put out videos about once a week to give you guys the information on Jacksonville real estate news. If there is a topic that you would like to know, boom, throw it down below and I will get to it and we'll see what we can do. Once again, Jacksonville, I hope you have a wonderful and beautiful weekend and we will talk soon.